Hit the like button, hit the share button. I'm not going to be here too long, but I need to gloat. Could have done a 15, 16 minute video, but I figure I'd go live and talk about Xbox and FPS boosts. If you're subscribed to the channel, you would have seen that I did a video 2 days ago preparing you guys for the next round of games being FPS boosted, and even dropping some hints in there and making some of you guys happy because, as you know, what I said, happened. A lot of the games were in there. Had to throw a couple people off with the thumbnail, but we're going to discuss, because reason why I'm going live today, because man, the amount of toxicity, hypocrisy, salt, double standards when it comes to like Xbox and people appreciating video games. Only Xbox can't, appreciate video games. We for some reason we don't get that same right. Shout out to Hustle and Motivate. Keep doing your thing. Polls. I see Smash in there. Glorious Kev. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. I know Hard 8 is live, but he's talking about something that everybody else is going to be talking about next week. So you guys can watch that later. But you guys need to hear me gloat. I don't care about people not playing games and reviewing them. It's been going on for years. Like I said, y'all only called out YouTubers when they did it. Now you guys and everybody was fine with Returnal getting, it's crazy meta scores, even though the game's damn near broken. But I'm not gonna delve into that. I know people are going crazy because PlayStation partnered with Discord and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody's hyping, yeah, PlayStation, Discord, voice chat, yeah, right? But you know what I mean? I'm sitting here gloating at 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second Xbox games and stuff like that, and I can't do that because it's old games. I'm the only one talking about games here. Games, all right? So let's talk about it, man. FPS boost. FPS boost. And make sure you guys can hear me. I apologize. Make sure, all right, good. No other sounds interfering. We're going to talk about FPS boost. We're going to talk about what happened today. What happened today? So let's go to... Look at that list. Look at that list. Look at the list. Look at the list. FPS boost, baby. There's 90, they're saying 97 games have been total games updated. It was 74 that was added today. Not to bring the total FPS boost to 97, which I hate to do this to you, which the 120 frames gap between PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles is that I need a calculator now. It's like it's not even worth counting no more. One's at 11, one's at damn near 100 at this point. But that's a different story. Let's talk about it. Xbox Series X has an amazing update, which updates, they boosted a total of 97 games, which includes Alien Isolation at 60 frames per second, Anthem at 60 frames per second, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, which is 4K, native, 60 frames per second, Assassin's Creed Ezio Collection, 60 frames per second, Assassin's Creed Unity, you no longer need the disc and do the unlock code, no. Your digital version is 60 frames per second, and it's a lot, 60 frames per second. And I'm going to download, where's my other hard drive? I got that on this big ass hard drive. That's where Assassin's Creed Unity is at. It's on this thing. I'm going to download it and move it over to the SSD so I can play it. We got Battlefield one. The Battlefield games have been a part of it. Battlefield Hardline's the newest one that they added. Beholder, Dead Island, all the Dead Island games, Definitive Edition and Dead Island Riptide Definitive Edition, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. That game got a lot of 60 frames per second. 60 frames per second. Hey, can't hate on it. Can't hate on it. Dirt 4, 120 frames per second. Dishonored Definitive Edition. Dishonored Death of the Outsider. I think the Definitive Edition was part of the Bethesda drop, but Death of the Outsider is newer, so they added that one. You got Dragon Age Inquisition, which was long awaited. That was supposed to be a part of the first batch. So you got Don't Starve, which is at 120 frames per second. You got Dying Light, 60 frames per second, and we got Far Cry 5, which everyone has been waiting for, and Far Cry Primal. Now, let me highlight something about Far Cry 5 and these check marks that you're seeing. These check marks that you're seeing means that the Xbox Series X will disable this FPS boost by default, for the simple fact that when you enable FPS boost, the resolution is going to get dropped down to the Xbox One's resolution. So if you don't want to play these games at like 1080p, 900p, or whatever the resolution it was on Xbox One to achieve the frame rate, don't do it. Like, for example, all these Battlefield games, they're native 4K 60 frames per second locked on the Series X. So I mean, I don't think the 120 frames is really worth it at that point for their visual trade-off for the Xbox One, because they're hitting their max limit at 60 frames per second. Even if these games were proper ports, you would not get 120 frames, I think, at those settings that they're running at Xbox One X. They would have to drop the resolution at some point. But we got all the just put it there. You got Gears of War 4. Now, Gears of War 4, this actually doesn't count for the Xbox Series X because there's already a 60 frames per second mode that it runs on the Xbox Series X for the Xbox One X enhancement. This is more so for the Series S customer playing the One S game. You now get it at 1080p 60 versus being stuck to the 30 frames per second mode. Halo Wars 2, you do retain your Xbox One X enhancement, so this is 4K 60. Halo Spartan Assault going at 120 frames per second, which I covered this in my video. I said these are the games I expect to get FPS boosted. Homefront the Revolution getting boosted to 60 frames. Island Saver is already at 4K. It's going to be 4K, 120 frames per second. This is a free-to-play game. It's actually a pretty fun game if you check it out. All the Lego games as Ice. All the Lego games are either 60 or 120 frames per second. And all of them that came out, 2017 and later are 4K. The ones before that are obviously they're 1080p, whatever. You got Life is Strange, Lords of the Fallen, Mad Max. This is very impressive. Mad Max is 1080p, 120 hertz on the Series X, 1080p, 60 hertz on the Xbox Series S. We got Metro 2033 Redux, Last Light Redux, both at 120 hertz. You got MotoGP. We got My Friend Pedro at 120 hertz. We got new Super Lucky's Tales, and I think the regular Super Lucky's Tales are both running at 120 hertz. You got Recore, as I said, 60 frames per second. You want to play a game that's not going to crash on you. Similar to Returnal, you can do Recore 60 frames per second, 1440p. It does keep its Xbox One X enhancements along with the FPS boost, so you're getting 1440p, 60 frames per second. It's probably the absolute best way to play it. You got Shadow of the Tomb Raider boosted to 60 frames per second. Now, this is interesting because Shadow of the Tomb Raider had a performance mode at 1080p and then their fidelity mode, which was at like 4K or so. Now you can play pretty much fidelity mode at 60 frames per second because of this FPS boost. Yes, your resolution does not have to drop to play this game at a 60 FPS. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, people like that game, is at 60 FPS now. We got Smite at 120 frames per second. There's Steep, there's Super Hot at 120 frames per second. There is Tom Clancy's The Division 1, which received an Xbox One X enhanced patch to run at 4K, and it's now 4K 60 frames per second with FPS boost. We got Wasteland 3, which just came out last summer. Watch Dogs 1, which is the best Watch Dogs game in the series, at 60 frames per second, and it looks better than Watch Dogs 2. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, at 60 frames per second. A whole lot of freaking games, and all people could do on Twitter was hate and say old fucking games. This was embarrassing, dude. This was embarrassing. My profile. I'm just gonna start reacting to some of these individuals so far. Let me drop. I got too many. Let's start reacting to some of these individuals as I was putting this tweet out. These tweets out, bro. Ah, man. So, where do we start? I don't know when I've been tweeting about this all day. All freaking day. There we go. Damn, how many times? All right, cool. We got some people. I want to just read the salt. Come on. Like, look at this idiot. He's boasting about 120 frames per second when everybody got 60 hertz TVs. Who has a 60 hertz TV? I have a 144 hertz monitor in front of me. These are two 60 hertz monitors, but I'm not playing the games on these. I have a LG CX. We already know what that can do. I have another 120 hertz in the living room. Not everybody's limited to 60 hertz, probably you. But one thing to remind you guys, because a lot of people like to pull out, not everybody has the HDMI 2.1 monitor, so it doesn't matter. Or a TV, it doesn't matter. Hey, it doesn't require 2.1 to get 120 frames per second. You just need HDMI 2.0, which is more common and a lot cheaper than the HDMI 2.1 display. So anybody with HDMI 2.0, at least as long as it can, their display can do freaking 120 hertz, they can get 120 frames per second on all these games. So yeah, I know it's sad. I know it's sad because some of you act like these boosts don't mean anything because you probably can't take advantage of it, but I'm not you. Oh man, you got here we go. We got that guy. Look at what next? Ratchet and Clank. What about Xbox? Some stupid shit like that. You got Salt with his gifts when he can't think of anything to say. Look at this. Ariel, whatever your name is. He says, a clown who is happy about old games. A clown who's happy about old games. A clown who is happy about old games. Let's check this out. Look at him. Happy about fucking Discord. Let's see. I'm a clown who's happy about old games. What is he playing? Oh, this dude barely games. Barely games, okay, but he found a way to go to my feed, okay. More old shit you're not gonna play. More old shit that I'm not going to play. Yet I've been taking screenshots and posting games I've been playing and beating. I actually beat Mirror's Edge Catalyst at 120 frames per second on the Xbox last week. I posted it, nobody had nothing to say. They didn't want to say nothing, they wanted to stay away from the post because so they can come out and do stupid shit like this. Right? He says, more shit I'm not going to play. Matter of fact, more shit I'm not going to play. Oh, trust me, I got a whole ton of shit I'm going to play. We're going to walk through, right now, we're going to go to my, my wish list for currently playing Judgment, so I pinned it to home. We're going to go to my, my wish list. I can actually start moving games from my FPS boost wish list and adding them to my 120 frames per second wish list. I can remove Anthem because it has been FPS boosted. So let's remove you from group. I can remove Homefront Revolution because it's been FPS boosted. I can remove you. I can remove Shadow of the Tomb Raider because it's been FPS boosted. This one has not yet. I can remove Tomb Raider Definitive Edition because it's been. Matter of fact, let's check this motherfucker out. Let's check it out. Has the up? Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. You can happily be removed from the wish list because you've been FPS boosted. What else? What else do we got here? What else do we got here? Far Cry 5! I can actually remove this shit from FPS boost. I can turn the motherfucker on and off. Yep. and I have this installed, but manage game add-on. No. Let's remove you from the group. What else? What else do we have here? Record. Yep. Because you're no longer a wish list. You are an actual. You're an actual. Removed from group. And PlayStation fans hate this. They hate this. They want us to praise Discord for partnering with PlayStation, but I can't talk about FPS boost. I can't talk about better frames. Yet, the minute that let's talk about this, right? The minute there's a PlayStation game that has the slightest edge in FPS compared to Xbox Series X, they will grab that screenshot, post it all over Twitter, talk all they shit. But the minute I start talking about 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second on Xbox games, no old games. But the minute Sony Ben announces their FPS boost for Days Gone, what they do? They re-downloaded that shit, they played it, they hyped it because it was free with PlayStation Plus. The minute God of War and Ghost of Tsushima and all the Ratchet and Clank was the most recent culprit. What did these dudes do? Optimus and all of them do? They downloaded that bitch and started playing that shit like it was brand new. Wow. They can do it. I can't. They can play old games with boosted frame rates. I can't. Why not? Why? Because I have more FPS boosted games than you do? Is that the reason? Like, are you kidding me? The minute, watch, Naughty Dog at some point is going to announce their FPS boost for The Last of Us, right? Part 2. They're going to have to do that, except Naughty Dog actually has to go and tinker with it and make sure it works. Whereas, Xbox, they don't do that over there. They can work on the games they're working on. They gotta go back and rework shit. They just let the system do the talking. That's what they do. Naughty Dog, they're gonna have to go and add FPS boost. And when they do that, they're gonna announce it. And then you know what these PlayStation guys are gonna do? They're gonna get on their knees. They're gonna clap their cheeks happy. They're gonna do their little share play. They're gonna be showing clips of it running at 60 frames per second because they're so happy playing that old ass game. And they're gonna act as if they ain't say shit to me when I'm sitting there counting frames per second. When I'm counting games running at 120, running at 60 frames, they're gonna act like as if they said nothing to me when I was like, yo, 70 plus games, 90 plus games. Oh, they're gonna act like they said nothing to me. Old games, that's all they said. All they said was old games. Let me go to another tweet where they were pissed because I said old game. Because I pretty much highlighted FPS boost, right? They're pissed. Let's go. Try to see what these tweets here. Okay. We got another one of these old game people that hate old games, right? Do I have a booster on this shit? I'll zoom this motherfucker. Let's get it in. We got all right, look at this. Look at this. We got, I'm going to take my camera off right quick so you can see this dude that we're talking about here. Let me take my camera off. You got Stevie Fashini. This dude looked like he got punched in the mouth or uppercutted some way. But he says, I just don't give a fuck about old games. I played already. Now, if it's a game I was always interested in, never played, that's a different story. I got much new shit to play. I haven't finished yet. Dude, so you played all 97 of these games? Did you? I don't think so. I don't think so. How do I minimize this shit? I don't think so. I don't think so. So let's go to the chat right quick. I am the most consistent person I know. I am. So you got people out of left field. Like, this is how people are dismantling FPS boosts. They attack me personally. You get like, well, are you gonna play the game now? Is the game any good? And then you got, you know, the PC guys were like, well, we been had this on PC. Nobody gives a fuck. If we did, we would be playing on PC, but we're not. We're playing it on Xbox. That's why it matters. We know what PC can do. We're talking about the console. We don't give a shit about PC. We talking about the console. The console. I don't know why that doesn't register in your head. But these PlayStation guys, man, they're talking about like, oh, like the hype for Discord has been like the funniest shit. Like, I get it. Yeah, Microsoft was rumored to acquire them, and they were close, and things fell through, and now PlayStation is going to get their little icon on it. That's fine. That's great. I mean, to me, it ain't worth it. It's not for me to celebrate, because whether Microsoft purchase Discord or Sony purchase Discord, it does not impact the way I'm gaming. So it's like they pick and choose. When we're talking about gaming focused stuff, we can't talk about it because it's old. But yet, like, let us, like, when we're last year, hold on, how many years ago when we were talking about like an update to a chat system, like every time we talk about platform features that's non-gaming related, like not directly impacted to games, we get shitted on. Where's the new exclusives? Da 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 da. We get shitted on. That's all. We can't talk about features non-related to games. We can't. They can, for somehow they can. So it's ironic that on a day where PlayStation gets news, it's something that's kind of really, that has nothing really to do with gaming, improving video games or anything like that. It's just about a feature that's coming next year. Next year. Here we're talking about something that's impacting games today. As the update just went live today. And guess who's getting shattered on more? Is it the PlayStation guys or the Xbox guys? No, it's the Xbox guys. We're talking about games running at higher frame rates. The craziest shit is the people that's talking all this shit. It's the people that shame games for being a peasant 30 frames per second or having shitty ass performance. Now they're at like crazy ass performance. And now we can't be hyped or be happy because they're old? Because they're old? Because you foresee them as old, yet when I go to your profiles, y'all still playing Bloodborne at some shitty ass 30 frames per second, at some shitty ass PS4 resolutions, still playing them old ass games. Y'all just bought freaking Nier Replicant for $60, playing the PS4 version on your PS5. Really? Really? That's what y'all doing, and y'all mad? Because I'm talking about games that released between the years of 2014 and 2020 that got boosted to 60 or 120 frames per second. You guys are killing me. Killing me. Killing me. Everybody wanna know where my Xbox headset is? Yeah, it's right here. Right here. Actually, I just feel like I don't need this one. I could like make everything match. Everything match. Got the hat, got the shirt. It's a little smaller, a little small, but we got it. We got it. Let's go. People quick this like, y'all ain't got new games. You ain't got new games. We got games. We got all the games. We got free remasters. Y'all still playing Bloodborne at 30 frames per second at 1080p. Right? That's what y'all playing. That's what y'all playing. Y'all playing Nier Replicant at 1080p. The game just came out. You're playing the PS4 version at 1080p. I ain't even gonna tell you how it's running on the Xbox. Last I heard, 1440p, 60 frames per second. No, boost to the texture filtering. No. Sorry. No, Xbox, we do that. It does that. Best place to play. Xbox gets shit, right? For the Xbox is the most performant box, right, that we have on the market, right? It's making every game that we've had run at peak performance, and it's worthy of criticism. Now, I'm willing to take some questions. I've only been live 24 minutes. Let's see what we got. What we got in the chat, yo? We got. What we got? Oh man. What's up, everybody? Like, I just don't understand why hate? Why hate on it though? What is there to hate? What is there, like, it was like when the news went live, people didn't know what to do. They had time to prepare for it because I've been drip feeding this shit to you guys all weekend. I've been telling you, try to prepare yourself. I mean, I tried to help you wiggle out your damage control. Tried to help you wiggle out your damage control. And it still hit you hard as shit because you didn't know how to react when the news came to the point where, old games. Old games. Old games, that's it. Old games. They ain't got no new games. When you guys do that, it literally severely limits what you can hype next. Don't care what PS4 game, how it runs on the PlayStation 5, you are now limited. You can't talk, you can't celebrate it, you can't show it off because you don't care about old games. Not my problem, it's your problem. Your problem. Your problem. My most excited FPS boosted game has to be, there's quite a few of them. I'm happy that I can play Tomb Raider in its fidelity mode because the thing is, Tomb Raider was the first franchise that really to sort of try to like benefit the Xbox One X in terms with their, because they would, they'll give you performance resolution mode, which would target, native 4K. They'll get native 4K and they'll get you like a performance mode, which is targeting 60 frames, but it never really maintained that. And the fact that I can actually get the fidelity mode at 60 frames per second and never have to choose, and now I can just enjoy the game. Because I just started another playthrough in performance mode during the launch of the Xbox One X, and I think I put it down because why did I put it down? Why did I stop? I don't know why I stopped, but now I can pick it back up. But I already beat the game. Just to give you, I beat all the Tomb Raiders, even the definitive editions, but I played and beat them in their resolution modes. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, of course. Now remember, on Xbox One, we were stuck at 30 frames per second cap. PlayStation 4 version is the only one that had like the unlocked frame rate. It was barely 60 frames per second, but it was damn near. It was 15, 20 frames higher than what the Xbox One could do. Now we're not limited to that cap. It'll be, a straight 1080p, 60 frames of experience. I might do a Tomb Raider marathon, but I would love for them to do Rise of the Tomb Raider. But ReCore, I'm happy about ReCore. I'm happy about, I'm excited. I'm not a fan of Mad Max. I don't like those apocalyptic open world Rage Mad Max and stuff like that. But I'm just happy at the fact that the type of game it is and it managing 120 frames per second. I think that's exciting because now I start thinking about other games that could potentially hit those targets. Halo Spartan Assault, I'm excited about. What else? There's so many. There's just so many of the on this FPS boost thing. I gotta eat dinner too. My food getting cold. Hold on. Where did my... There we go. FPS boost. So we got... I'm excited about Assassin's Creed Rogue because I never played that one. That was the one that came out on 360 and PS3, while I think the Xbox One... It was that came out the year I think the Xbox One and PS4 got Unity, I believe. They had to split the games. PS3, PS4 got Rogue. Xbox One and PS4 got Unity, and then they later remastered Unity, for like the Xbox One and PS4, and the Xbox One X version was obviously native 4K, and we're gonna get that native 4K at 60 frames per second, so that should be interesting. Assassin's Creed Unity, I'm happy about. Diaz X Mankind Divided, never played it. I'm interested in trying that thing. I'm happy about to see the later Far Cry. I want to see how that looks like because it looks like they disabled the Xbox One X connection for that one. Not connection, but the resolution. So it might be at Xbox One resolutions. I'm curious to see how the Metro games run. There's just a lot. I'm just happy at how large this list got in a matter of a few months. I remember the complaints of those 5 games. It was Watch Dogs 2, New Super Lucky's Tale, Sniper Elite, UFC, Far Cry 4, and another game. But the fact that they went from 5 to 97, I mean, that's a big leap. And the fact that every time they did this shit, you got people hating on it. They can't handle it. The better the list gets, the more hate it gets. That's crazy. I understood if you shatted on the first batch, right? I understood that. Then the Bethesda batch, you know what I mean? They shatted on that. The EA batch, which was the most at that point, which was a couple weeks ago, they shatted on that. And now the crazy amount of a lot of games that's on this list was on everybody's list. Like, oh, like they should do this game, they should do that game. They got most of those games. Now, obviously, I have my personal wish list. I literally dropped several games off my personal FPS boost wish list because they've been updated to run at those higher frame rates. What's up, Sage? Let's go. Yep, Assassin's Creed 3 has FPS boosts. A lot of games getting FPS boost. The whole entire Assassin's Creed, technically all the Assassin's Creeds and all the Far Cries are FPS boosted with the exception of Far Cry 3, which is the best one, and the recent Assassin's Creed like Odyssey and Origins. I would love for those to get FPS, but they're probably saving those games for the Uplay Game Pass edition later on this year. Maybe. We'll see. Do you think Discord will come to Xbox sometime with the native app? Probably. If they plan to be a universal app, I expect them to go. I mean, they're one step there. Xbox has the integration already. Not the voice integration, but the same integration that every other app where, like, when we're in Discord, if I'm in Discord and I'm playing on Xbox, people can see what game I'm playing in Discord. They'll see that I'm playing an Xbox game on Xbox and whatnot. The only thing that's missing, the only integration between that we're missing on Discord on Xbox is to be able to chat with those guys on from the app. So and that's what I thought they would do if they acquired Discord. I think that would have been a no-brainer. PlayStation didn't buy Discord. I'm not sure exactly how PlayStation is going to integrate them, but I think if I'm Discord, you didn't want to be acquired, you want to be bigger than what you are, you find your way to get natively on all the platforms that are there. You find a way to be natively on PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox, and then now not only do you got the PC market, you got the entire gaming market on deck, and you become the primary voice chat for all. But we'll see. Are they going to fix the lower? No, that's not. All right. I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna get out of here so I can eat, or unless you guys don't mind me eating, let me go grab my plate. I got a big ass hole in my like shorts. All right. The FPS boost is not broken. It's not breaking games. The resolution thing is not breaking. This is what's taking place, right? Because there's a fair amount of games, right, that uses FPS boost at the Xbox One X settings. That's all engine stuff. Those games, a lot of these games, right, that are set to run at 60, but that's dropping. It's not that they can't run at 60 at those resolutions they have. It would just now require work for devs to go into the code and update it to make it Gen 9 aware, so it can run 60 frames per second at its, standard texture at the Xbox One X settings and stuff like that. That's why some games did it. Some games did it, like Warzone, like the Rocket Leagues and Wreckfest. The current version of Jedi Fallen Order that we got, they're still backwards compatible, but it's Gen 9 aware, so it's using its resources better to try to fully take advantage of the next gen consoles. So what Xbox is doing is not that. So it's not like the box is weak or it's just incapable. I think the emulator, the whatever their trick to getting the frame rates doubled, it's harder for them to do that at the game's current settings. And if they wanted to bring like a game like Far Cry 5 to 60 frames per second at Xbox One X settings, it would require Ubisoft to go and unlock the frame rates or to make that game Gen 9 aware, like they did with the Division 2, like they did with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. They would have to go back and do that. That would be Ubisoft to do that. And now that we got Far Cry 5 using FPS boost, I don't think they're going to go back and make that game Gen 9 aware. So the thing is, that is all engine related. So whatever any game that's the Far Cry engine is running on is probably not going to be able to, get FPS boosted at Xbox One X settings. Whatever. But you got games like Tomb Raider, like Rise of the Tomb Raider should be able to do it. I'm just surprised they didn't do Rise of the Tomb Raider. They did Shadow and they did the definitive edition. But Rise of the Tomb Raider should be able to do 4K 60 at its Xbox One X settings, no problem if they do it. And I won't be surprised if it's the next game done in their next batch of games. But games like ReCore, you don't have to lower the resolution for that. The resolution doesn't have to drop for that. Same thing for Assassin's Creed Rogue. Same thing for Yakuza 6. I don't know if that's Xbox One X enhanced, but I know it's recent. The Super Lucky Tales game, they don't have to drop their res. Ram Royale Platins is 4K 60 currently on the Xbox One X. It's about to be It's going to be 4K 120 on the Series X. So that's 4K at 120, and that's double the frame rate. It doesn't have to drop its resolution. We got what else? Mad Max was never enhanced for the Xbox One X, so it's just running at its peak performance. None of the Lego games have to drop its resolutions. Island Saver is running at 4K 60 on a One X. It's 4K 120. No resolution drop. Halo Wars 2 is 1X enhanced. People forget that's 4K. It doesn't have to drop its resolution to get 60 frames per second on the Series X. Let's see. But like games like Dishonored, for some reason they have to run their the Xbox One resolution. It really all depends on the engine it was running on. Just to make it like, so for example, Unity, well, there was no 1X enhancements for that one. The Ezio collection and Assassin's Creed Rogue, I mean, they were remastered and got the 4K support for Xbox One X. They don't have to drop their resolution. I know they're not that as demanding since I think their native, development was, Gen 7 360 PS3. So it really all depends. I don't think that's something they could fix. I know they got different things like super resolution and stuff like that. The auto HDR, the filtering, the texture filtering boost that happens naturally. But I don't know, man. Some of these games, I'd rather take the FPS boost. And some games, like there's a lot of games that ran at 60 frames per second on the One X or One X. It wasn't a solid 60, but remember when the Xbox One X first came out, a lot of games was like trying to shoot straight for native 4K or the highest textures possible they can get. And they were doing it, but frame rate was like trash. The Series X can run those games. That's why I play Wolfenstein the 2 or Battlefront 2, it's Titanfall 2 Series X in its native 4K 60 mode. You're going to be impressed about how fluid that game is and just how rich and how the quality of the textures are in those games. So like those games, and those games, come on, in their Series X version, they're targeting 120. You're not going to 120 at those textures. I get it. It would be nice, but a lot of the games that are natively developed for the Series X and PS5 that have 120 frames options, what happens? They drop the resolution, and they drop the resolution dynamically to like 1080p and below to maintain 120. And some, Xbox has a lot of games that are in that 1440p-ish range to maintain 120 frames per second, but you're not getting, for a lot of these new games, 4K at 120. Now, right now, as it stands, Xbox Series X has the most games, or matter of fact, I want to say it has the only games at 4K and at 120 frames per second at the same time, which is to take advantage that you do need a 2.1 output. And those games are Master Chief Collection. Those games are Ori and the Will of Wisp. That games are now Platins, Ram Royale, and Energy Saver. And there's some other games that I probably not played. New Super Lucky's Tale. Those are all 4K at 120 frames per second. No, there's no compromise in the visuals and resolutions there. So But yeah, I have to give it to these ponies, bro. I have to give it to the super resolution is just machine learning bullshit that they're doing, which I don't know how it's going to impact backwards compatible games. I think there's going to be things for games natively made for the Series X and Series S, where and that's where you're going to start seeing games. You're going to stop seeing this 900p bullshit on Series S. Series S will have games that are able to fulfill its proper resolution targets because of super resolution. That 1440p 60 frames or 120 hertz target that they touted, they should be able to naturally handle that now with super resolution. So hit that like button. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Because I will get out of here so I can chow down on this fish. When is Red Dead Super Boost? I don't think Red Dead is getting FPS boosted at all, ever. I think Red Dead will be resold to us as a next gen update, like GTA. Like the GTA, there's GTA's due this year. It'll probably come out this holiday, who knows? But Red Dead will get a next gen version. It just won't be through a free upgrade. He said, better watch what you say. Griffin is watching. I don't give a fuck who's watching because I don't care who's watching. What is there to discredit? I said Xbox is about to get the biggest FPS boost next week. It happened. I undershot it because there's 97 games. I said 70 games. I undershot it. We got more games, and then there's a lot of games doing some impressive stuff. You know, if you're not in a PC, if you're not a PC gamer, the best console to have, the most performant console to have is an Xbox console. And that's facts. That is facts. Or we can pretend that we don't play old games. Do I know any leaks for E3? If I did, I wouldn't talk about them in this live stream. I would do another video, or I'll do cryptid tweets. I just want to remind you guys that last July of 2020, I tweeted Xbox Series X will have more 60 and 120 frames per second games than the PlayStation 5. That's before I knew anything really legit about these consoles. And that hasn't changed. What fish am I eating? I don't know what kind of fish it is. But it's not fried, it's baked. That's why it's all pink. Baked fish, healthy fish. Okay. I do think it'll be okay to be hyped for E3 this year. I think we don't have to lower our expectations. I don't think our expectations will have to be tempered at all this year. I don't think, and I'm not going to predict anything, but my expectations aren't low. Not this year. Said grilled and baked over fried any day. Yoko, you're right. You're right. Good thing this is my live stream where I'm allowed to eat on live. You want to take a break? I just got a bunch of these. These are HDMI 2.1 cables. They got the PS5 advertised on it, but I don't know why. PS5 ain't taking advantage of this shit. Hellblade gameplay? I'm not replaying Hellblade. I have no reason to replay it. It's not a game you play multiple times. I got one more achievement to get, and I don't think it's worth getting. Because it's not a combat-based achievement. It's a collectible. Like 90% of players on Xbox who play the game miss that same collectible. Black Bond Hellblade's FPS doesn't need to be boosted because it's already 60 frames per second on the Xbox Series X, so no need for FPS boost. It's already there. Already fluid. A fluid 60 frames per second. I might play Spartan Assault though, for real. For real, for real. For sure. Yeah, Flight Simulator. So, alright. Something tempting, right? So Psychonauts is going into Game Pass, I think, any day now. If it's not there right now. Any day now, Psychonauts should be going into Game Pass. I got a good feeling that Psychonauts will be in Game Pass. Psychonauts 2 is coming in maybe July. I think July it comes. Let's see. Recently added, or where's the coming soon section? So I would like to pre-download it. Ooh, Steep! Steep is FPS boosted. Steep is FPS boosted. Steep. That's trash. Steep is FPS boosted for the Xbox Series S. It's already 60 frames per second on the Series X. So, but there's no 20 hertz. It's not 120 hertz opposite. It's the FPS boost is not needed for the Series X, but it is needed for the Series S. So that it has that. Snowboarding, I might check that out. Just cause I'm not a fan of Just Cause games, and I would love to see how they look and run at 60 frames per second. Psychonauts, there we go. We're going to add that game. I think the new one will come out in I think it'll come out soon. Lego Batman. This game also just got FPS boosted as well. Battle for the Grid is 120 frames per second on the Xbox Series X with FPS boost, and the Series S, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Yep, 120 frames on both. Let's say Alien Isolation, also in Game Pass, FPS boosted to 60 frames per second. Yeah, I know a lot of people have to play that game at 30. Yikes! What else? It lurks below. Crosscode is actually 120 frames per second on the Series X. Yeah, just quite a few games. Have I played Alien Isolation? I have not. I have no idea. Not interested in hide and seek. That's my thoughts on Alien Isolation. Hide and seek. I know you don't get like a gun or anything like that. You just hide from this alien in different places. I mean, yeah, not my type. Wasteland got FPS boosted. Hardline got FPS boosted. Oh, damn! Games with FPS boost. That's easy. Wow. 60, 120, 120, 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 120. Hollow Knight, 120, 120. Unruly Heroes. What'd you guys get? What'd you get? 120. Yakuza 60, 120. Battle Chasers, I think, is 120. Yep. What is Fogs, and when did that come out? Fogs ain't, it says it has FPS boost, but it's not on this recent list. I don't remember that game getting updated. But hey, Garden Warfare, I think they're all like 120 if I'm not mistaken. 120, 60, 60, 60, 60, 120, 120, 60, 60, 60, 120. I think Totally Reliable it is 120. 2 Point Hospital is 60, 60, 120, 120. Beholder, never played that shit. Don't think I ever will. But it's in Game Pass and it's 60. Gears 60. Golf with Friends I think is 120. 120. Moto GP has to be at least 120. No, 60 hertz. Well, it's 60 on Xbox regardless, but My Time with Porsche, I don't care. Overcooked 2, don't care. Shadow Warrior 60, Battlefront 2 60, and all the other games aren't in Game Pass, but there's some games I do own, so that I have to check, like my entire. Because people say we don't buy games, we only rent them, right? Look at all the owned games. Look at all the owned games. 500. 500. But we don't buy games. 500 games that I own. How many of these I have to reinstall, though? How many of these I have to reinstall? Like, because some of these are like FPS boosted for sure. Yeah. Yeah, but we don't buy games. But I own 500 games. Own. These aren't Game Pass games that I got from Game Pass. These are games that I own. It's just incredible. 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 Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do first. Because some games I do have to download. I'm actually going to buy Assassin's Creed Rogue. It's like, I don't know if I should wait until it should go in the Game Pass later this year or just buy it. Hopefully it's on sale. I'm going to try. That's the one I'm like, Recore for sure. It's already, I don't have to reinstall that. So Recore, I'm probably going to open up a new save and start from the beginning. I've never finished Dying Light. I now have reason to finish Dying Light. Now, Chris, I don't know why I didn't finish Dying Light. Dying Light and Dead Island, I think I'm like 50% through both games. I don't know why I dropped those games. I'd like to play Anthem, but I know they dropped the resolution on that one. There's a lot, dude. There is a lot. There's a lot. Metros. Tomb Raider, I'm definitely playing through again, and I'm gonna do the Division with a couple of my friends, maybe NickBanks, to just play through the campaign. Now that it's 60 frames, so. Yeah, Bond hating. He said, try CD keys. You know what? Hot boy D. I will do that. I will try CD keys. But one thing is, I do like getting rewarded for my purchases. So even though I'm going to save a couple bucks on CD keys, when I buy games from Xbox Store, I get points towards my thing. And it looks like, hell, my budget is essentially for the month. Because there's about 4 games I'm quite very, very interested in getting. My birthday is on Thursday, guys. Thursday. Xbox, I hate the e-bag, but I got it. Because I can't afford to buy all the games that I want, right? And not all these games are launched in Game Pass. But just let me show you something what Game Pass does, right? So, Xbox has this little option, right? That I don't know if it works on pre-orders. Does it work on pre-orders? Does it work? I can add it to my wish list, right? But let's say for example, so let me go to a game that actually exists, because I don't know if you can do that. Maybe you can do it on PlayStation. I don't know. But let's say if I wanted a game like fucking Ben 10 or some shit like that, right? Not that I want Ben 10, but let's say I wanted Ben 10, some shit like that, right? Buy as a gift. Xbox is so awesome. And then all you gotta do is, choose from your friends list or enter an email address. That's dope. That's dope. So, birthday's on Thursday. Resident Evil comes out on Friday. But there's a game that's actually looked more intriguing than Resident Evil that comes out that same day. And this game called Hood. Outlaws and Legends. Check out the gameplay for this one. I'm hoping there's a community here, because those are one of those risky games where you might like it, but not a lot of people buy it or is playing it. And this thing is a multiplayer centric game. It's co-op. It's PvP versus PvE. It's two teams of, I think, 4 or 3, pretty much in competition, and pretty much competing to get to pretty much to steal treasure. But the thing is, you're stealing from, and you got objectives to do that's involving other NPCs that you have to sneak around and stuff like that. And it's more so of a race to do it first. And then obviously in the process, you're going to be fighting each other, or you're going to be fighting other NPCs. And it's a great concept, but you just hope it catches on. Just hope it catches on. You're going into Dragon Age. I'm going to download that. I actually started that 2 years ago. But the thing is, it's in Game Pass now. When I played it, I used to game share with Gladiator Dude, and I think he had it. I think that's how I had access. That's how I had access to acquire those games that I weren't quite interested in, like the Mad Maxes, and whatnot. I started them, but I never finished them. But I don't have access to them again because I'm not game sharing with Gladiator Dude anymore. But the Hood game is called it's called Hood Outlaws and Legends. Biomutant, hired gun. I'm matter of fact, I might actually just pre-order that for sure. So May's looking interesting. The big games that's coming out, like Resident Evil, I'm not quite interested in, even though I know it's running better on the Xbox Series X in ray tracing mode. But yeah. Said you beat it a long time ago. I'm gonna try to give it a try again. I don't like games that make me get in a car and do car combat, and that's why I drop games like Rage, which is also 60 frames per second, and Mad Max, where you have to keep doing things that involve like cars, and I know that's what Mad Max is centered around, but like I can't do combat games or car combat games like that where it's heavily relied. There's car combat games that I like Full Auto and Twisted Metal, but games like Rage and Mad Max, I feel like they have similar like vehicle combat that I'm just not a fan of. I don't know if 120 frames is going to help that, but I will give it a try again. Said Ratchet and Clank, you buying? I'll buy it when I get a PS5. He said, drop a new diss track on PlayStation's the new gen player. Thinking about it, I gotta find something. I have to find something consistent. I think I have something, but are you playing Outriders? If so, how far have you gotten? Jago, I've beaten Outriders, so I haven't. After the day I beat Outriders, right? The next day, a lot of people got that inventory wipe bug that happened, and I didn't turn it on since. I didn't want to lose anything, so I'm done with the campaign. I hit max level. I'm trying to get World Tier 15. That's the only thing I really want to do, is I want to clean up some achievements and get World Tier 15. So I'm always down to play it because there's content there for me to do. There's about 3 or 4 side quests that I'm missing. And I want to get to World Tier 15. So if anybody's down to play Outriders, I'm never uninstalling the game. I enjoyed the game. I just beat the quest, the main quest I've beaten. So. Expeditions, yeah, it's cool. I've done an expedition. I didn't do them all. I had a PS5. I sold it. There's a video of me saying I sold my PS5. That's been like my most viewed video in the last 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. Persona 5 coming to Xbox. Check Twitter. Oh shit. Now I can't pretend that I'm hyped because people, all the shit that I done talked about Persona 5 or any Persona game. Only Persona game I would give a chance is the one where you're not taking turns hitting each other. So that would be Strikers. Persona 5 Strikers is the one that I'd do. But I don't see anything regarding Persona 5. Let me hit my notifications. Don't see anything. Let me type it in the search. Persona 5 Xbox. I know a Persona game is coming to Xbox this month. We're in May. Oh! Okay, Legendary News says that he... No, that's an old tweet. But I know a Persona game is coming this month. I just don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's Persona 5, Persona 4 Royale, or is it Royale? No, Persona 4 Go. I forgot what the one that just came out on Steam. It's either that one or one of the Persona 5 games. I don't know if it's Strikers or the Royale one. But I don't see anything in regards to it recently, so I don't know. How can you tell if what games have FPS boosts? Are you talking about like just by Googling it and looking at the list, or checking natively on your Xbox? I'll show you how to do it on your Xbox. Just give me 1 second. So if you want to check any game with FPS boosts, did I even show you guys how the GIF worked, or was it not on camera? I would feel extremely stupid if I didn't show you guys how game gifting worked, right? Game gifting. Sunken City, which got a stealth next gen boost. Game gifting. Boom, buy as gift. See, that's how it works. All right, but yeah, so if you want to see what game is using FPS boost, right? Let's go to, I have a ton of games here. Actually, let's look at Battlefield 5, right? You go to manage games, you hit the little sandwich button, go to manage games, go to compatibility options, and oh, this is blacked out because right now I do not have my monitor set to I picked one. I could do it on a game that's running 60 hertz, but there we go. Video modes. Right now I'm on my monitor right now, so that's the reason why I had to do that. If I was on a CX, I wouldn't have to do that at all. So all right, so now we're at 1440p, 120 hertz. I can go back to the game, which is Battlefield, because they are at 120 hertz, so that's why. Compatibility issue, FPS boost, turn it on, and voila. Same thing with like Recore. Where is it? Where the fuck it is? Oh, there we go. Recore has FPS boost today. It should be updated. It's already there. The only thing is though, when you... Oh. Okay. That's how it works. Okay. I'm getting out of here though. It's been a pleasure. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed these new batch of games that are 120 frames per second. And I'll be back with another video the minute Xbox announces something new again. But I'm going to try some of these games. Peace.